Good evening, respected district dignitaries, fellow Toastmasters, and guests watching this from around the globe. Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Summit 2021. I'm Toastmaster Athira Gopakumar, and I'll be the Sergeant-at-Arms for today's event. I would like to begin by stating the mission of Toastmasters: to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders, to provide a mutually supportive and a positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Some rules to be respected while the speech is in progress. Please turn off your audio and keep the video switched on unless instructed otherwise. Please use the chat box to communicate as and when instructed. Please turn off all the noise-making devices or put them in silent mode. Please do not switch on the audio while the speech is in progress, as it may interrupt the speaker. Speakers are requested to refrain from making any references to politics, sex, or religion in their speeches. No member of the audience will be allowed to move in or out of the room while the speech is in progress. So, dear leaders, a pessimist complains about the wind. An optimist expects it to change. A leader adjusts the sail. I believe that the true quality of a leader is exhibited when he or she tries to achieve something extraordinary from an ordinary person. Every single time you inspire others with the way you carry your imperfections, you become a leader. So let's get set for an adventurous evening with our trailblazing, trend-setting leaders who've charted their own course by mastering the art of adjusting their sails. And to take this event further, it's time for me to call the first MC onto the stage. She's been a member of the Pro Toast Club for 6 years, is currently a part of the District Club Extension team as well. She also served as an area director, a VPPR, president, and an assistant area director until now. About her personal life, she loves swimming, connecting with people, and she's also a huge fan of the nature. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Hannah Manzar onto the stage.
Thank you so much, Athira, for this warm introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Leadership Summit 2021. Are you all excited? Wow, that's perfect. I am excited as well. Now, I want to ask you a question. What comes to your mind once we say leaders? For me, am I good enough? How can I become like them? These were the questions that used to come to my mind before. I always had doubts before taking any leadership position until one day, a member in my club in Toastmasters approached me and told me, Hannah, you can do it. Take the president role. I said, what? Are you serious? I can't even speak in front of an audience. He told me a statement that I will never forget. Leaders are not speakers. Leaders are communicators. They connect with members. And leaders are committed. They work with passion. This was my first step in the leadership journey. You are a leader wherever you go, be it at home, at work, on street, you name it. But what makes you flourish as a leader is your surrounding or your community. Find yourself people who lift you up and not down. Surround yourself with leaders from whom you can get inspired from. If you are here tonight, this morning, or this evening to make a change, you are in the right place, because tonight we will be surrounded with international leaders who will remove any doubts you have in yourself and inspire us to transform not only ourselves, but also our surrounding. Leaders are not only made to fulfill the roles and live, they are made to serve. Make a constant change and mentor other leaders. I personally learned This is from a leader who is currently the Program Quality Director in Toastmasters. Distinguished Toastmaster Gurvinder Singh Pon is a Senior People Resources Executive. He has been a Toastmaster for 14 years and is currently the Program Quality Director and District Director-elect for District 105. He has been a true inspiration to many members, especially me, because he supported me during my leadership journey. He is a coach and board member at International Coaching Federation, Oman chapter. His tagline is, "Keep it simple." Please help me welcome, with a big round of virtual applause, our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Gurvinder Pon.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Hannah, for that lovely introduction, and welcome to the audience from all over the world today. It's my privilege to welcome you to this Leadership Summit 2021. Conventional wisdom holds that some people are innately creative, while most have few original thoughts. Some people are born to be leaders, and the rest are followers. Some people can have real impact, but majority can't. But today, our speakers are handpicked by this event management team. And when I was listening to them, I learned that great leaders don't necessarily have the deepest expertise, but rather they seek out the broadest perspective. In them, I saw how success is usually not attained by being ahead of everyone, but sometimes also patiently waiting for the right time to act. In his book, Adam Grant, Give and Take, a very popular book which I read recently, he says there are two types of people: takers and givers. Takers like to get more than they give. Maybe he was talking about me that time. They tilt reciprocity in their own favor. They put their own interest ahead of others' needs. Takers believe that the world is a competitive, dog eat dog kind of a place. They feel that to succeed, they need to be better than others. Givers are relatively a rare breed. They tilt things in the other direction, preferring to give more than they get. While takers tend to be self focused, givers are other focused, paying more attention to what others need from them. And it's not just about money or fame. Givers and takers differ in their attitudes and actions towards other people. While it's tempting to reserve the giver label to the larger than life heroes, Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, but being a giver doesn't require extraordinary acts of sacrifice. It just requires a focus on acting in the interest of others. Even if it is an 18-minute talk at the Leadership Summit of Toastmasters International. Dan Sullivan says, always make your contribution bigger than your reward. As you become successful, numerous rewards will come your way: more income, praise, recognition. These are all desirable things. We want them, I want them. But they cannot be growth stoppers for us. They may tempt you to become just fixed on those rewards, but that will make it very weak for you. We should rather make focus on being more contributory. Being your contributory nature will guarantee that rewards will continue to increase. And even more serious contributions can come from you by helping others, by helping us, Toastmaster members, or anybody else in the community to eliminate our dangers, help us to capture our opportunities, and maximize our strength. And today is the day that 7 givers from all over the world have come together to contribute to the community that loves learning. To me, it's an achievement of a lifetime because they all accepted my personal invitation and they are all here today. Thank you so much to all our speakers for joining us today and making a contribution as a giver to the leadership community and the members of Toastmasters International and guests. This program is not only for Toastmasters. Today we have guests, friends, and families of different people in our community and our speakers. I welcome each one of you. As the Program Quality Director of District 105 of Toastmasters, this is my farewell gift. A humble contribution to the members of the Toastmasters and the whole world. Thank you very much for allowing me to serve you this 1 year and to give a little bit of my contribution. Friends and families, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy this beautiful flight, which will be piloted by Hannah Munzer and later on by our second pilot, who will be introduced in short time. Let's relax and enjoy the session. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster Hannah Munzer. Please unmute, Hannah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Gurbinder, for contributing and giving in the past years as a friend, as a mentor, as a coach, as a leader. We truly appreciate all the contributions that you have made. And thank you for being the core initiator of this Leadership Summit. I believe, and on behalf of District 105 members, we believe that it will be a high value to everyone. So thank you. Moving to our first speaker. Among us tonight are reputed leaders who made a difference in people's lives. There is no other special event to have them all gather here on this platform to share their valuable insights and tips. Our first speaker, Alita Roshat. Alita Roshat is a certified world-class speaking coach, as well as an interview coach. She teaches clients how to breathe life into their presentations and to make their message crystal clear. She teaches her clients how to be noticed, remembered, and hired. Alita is the author of Speak, Connect, Succeed, Build Your Reputation as You Speak, as well as the Wedding Speaker's Guide. Alita is an international director for Toastmasters International, as well as a distinguished Toastmaster. She has spoken and trained in over 21 countries. Her clients range from corporations wishing to improve their presentation skills to CEOs wanting to be more persuasive in their speeches. She has coached TEDx speakers, executives launching new products, and professors speaking at international conventions. Alita is lucky enough to live in Cape Town. She is a keen runner who won't win any medals for speed. Welcome, Alita. Can you confirm the audio by saying hello?
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Okay, so with the speech title, Find Your Inner Rooster, Alita, the screen is yours.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's such a joy to be with everyone this evening. PQD Gurbinder, you and your team, thank you for putting together an event that I think will touch all of us in ways we probably can't imagine right at the outset of this meeting. I want to start off by shouting loudly, cock-a-doodle-doo! And I want to issue a disclaimer. My children are horrified that I'm talking to you about roosters. As a mother, those of you who are parents will understand when I say that it goes with the territory that your children often find you embarrassing. And this is one of those instances where they think that mom's crazy hobby of collecting roosters is not something that should be shared in public. I didn't grow up on a farm. I didn't grow up hearing roosters crow early in the morning. Occasionally I'd hear them if I was in an area where there were roosters, but it was really when I went shopping for a painting for my home, and you can see that behind me today. My husband and I were looking for a painting for our home, and I saw this most beautiful painting of a rooster, and I fell in love in that moment. I just knew that that was the painting that was coming home with us. And Rory and I have been happily married for 30 years, but let me tell you, if he and I ever had to get divorced, I would fight tooth and nail for my rooster. He's coming home with me. For years after that, I didn't really focus on roosters. But then one day I met this guy, and he just appealed to me, made out of natural fibers, a lovely little tilt of his head, and I bought him. He became my first almost life-size rooster at home. And as time went on, I started collecting more. And this beautiful guy I found in Malaysia. And when I saw him, I just knew that I was going to have to make room in my already overflowing suitcase to bring him home. And again, I did. And one of the ones I'm most proud of is this beautiful one. And I found him in Lisbon in Portugal. And once again, I would have thrown anything out of my suitcase to bring him home. When you look for roosters, you can find plenty of them. They're all over the place, but some of them aren't worth having. And I often have fun with my family where I take photos of really ugly rooster ornaments and say to them, I'm bringing this home. And they all say, no, please, we've got enough. But I've got plenty more. I've got a whole collection of them in my kitchen. So what is it about roosters that fascinates me? And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that we can actually learn leadership lessons from roosters. Roosters are leaders. They are born leaders, and they know it. It's not like you have to teach them how to be a leader or convince them to step into the leadership space. Innately, they know that they are the leader and they act accordingly. Roosters are often those people you can't ignore. They're talented, they're creative. They are just people who somehow are in the spotlight without even trying. And they make life more interesting for the rest of us. So for us as leaders, we need to emulate that. We need to accept our leadership position. Instead of often saying, no, it can't be me, just step into that role like a rooster would. He's not hesitant. He doesn't doubt himself. A rooster cannot be a hen. A rooster is a rooster because that's how God created him. And in many ways, I feel that God created each one of us to be leaders. But so often we spend so much of our time trying to convince ourselves that we aren't leaders that we miss out on opportunity. We need to accept that we are leaders and step into that space. I love the attitude of roosters. They are beautiful and they know it. They're unapologetically beautiful, accomplished. They take pride in their presence and their appearance. They don't shy away from being center stage because they belong there. And we as leaders often take on the mantle of a leader, but then we don't want to step into the spotlight because somehow we feel uncomfortable. And if we think of roosters, they embrace that. They make peace with that because they belong there. And they use that opportunity well. As leaders, we need to honor that opportunity to do justice to ourselves and to those that we are leading. We don't take it for granted. We get in there with a certain measure of humility while we still have that confidence that a rooster has. Roosters are on top of their game. They rise early ahead of their competitors. And for them, this isn't a chore. It's just what they naturally do to rule their roost. They do what it takes to be a leader, and they do that consistently. They don't crow one morning and then sleep in the next. They crow every morning. They do what it takes to be a leader, and they do it again and again and again. And as leaders, we need to develop that consistency. We need to do those things that are part of the job and do them well and do them again and again and again. Roosters don't only crow early morning. They crow often throughout the day to remind everybody else who's in charge. And as a leader, your brood needs to hear your voice, not all the time, but certainly when it matters most. We can't be silent as leaders. We have to communicate with those we are leading. Roosters, they are there for the greater good. They are well known to look after their flock or their brood. They'll alert that flock when danger comes, and they'll fight off almost any animal that threatens the hen or their eggs. They also protect the hens from one another by maintaining order. In fact, there's research that shows that hens are happier when a rooster is present. There's a structure and everybody understands the rules of the game. Roosters are revered in many cultures, and they're often a symbol of a new dawning and of good luck. In Korea, they are considered to be a good omen when spotted, and their willingness to fight until the end represents their strength and conviction, which obviously are admirable qualities that each one of us wants to have. And a lot of Koreans apparently get a rooster tattoo. What a wonderful idea, I thought. Well, no, I haven't got one yet, but it's something to consider for the future. As a rooster, be sure that you're constantly in touch with your brood. You can only look after them and protect them if you know their needs. And as a leader, you need to understand the dangers and the risks that you and your team are facing. You need to be willing to step in, if needed, to make a change or to protect them. So if roosters have all these admirable qualities, how do we channel or find our inner rooster? How do we embrace the leadership characteristics of a rooster? So here I'd invite you to play along. So those of you that have got your camera off, how about turning your camera on at this point so that we can practice channeling our inner rooster? And Zoom Master, just a heads up, in a few minutes, I'd like to ask everyone to unmute themselves. So if you could make that possible a few minutes from now, I'd be deeply grateful. So the first thing you've got to do to channel your inner rooster is you've got to assume the pose. I've never seen a rooster slouching. So sit up a bit straighter as a rooster would and assume the pose of a rooster. They're proud and they strut their stuff. The next thing is you've got to assume the attitude of a rooster. And a rooster, imagine going into your next meeting as a rooster rather than a hen. What would your discussions be like? What would the debate be like? Imagine going into your next negotiation as a rooster. What would you tolerate? What would you ask for? What would you demand as your right? Imagine going into your next date, for those that you are dating, as a rooster rather than a hen. So you've got to assume the pose. You've got to take on the attitude. You've got to find something to crow about and make sure it's something that makes a difference to others, something that makes a difference in a positive way. And as a rooster, you have to rule your roost. And that includes being there for the well-being of those that you lead. And when you strut your stuff, understand just how fabulous you really are. And now comes the point that I'd like the Zoom masters to allow us to unmute. Because if we are going to be inner roosters, we have to make a noise. So can you unmute yourselves? Okay, if you are unmuted, I want you to throw your head back, assume the pose, and go cock-a-doodle-doo. And once.
Cocorico!
And let me just tell you how beautiful you are. You deserve to be in the limelight, and your brood needs you. So strut your stuff, find something to crow about, and channel your inner rooster. Back to you, Madam MC.
Thank you so much, Anita Rashad. Please give her a big round of applause. Thank you for this inspiring speech. To be honest, you said something. Hen are happier once roosters are around. And indeed, roosters are true leaders. And that means that if you are a true leader, people around you will feel motivated and happy. We truly appreciate all the tips that you had given us. Now, it would be great if you can kindly keep the camera on, and please accept the certificate of honor on behalf of District 105. Our technical team will be taking the picture now, so it would be great if you can keep your camera on and smile to the camera. Okay. The photograph is taken. Moving to our second speaker, Jessica Brightenfield. Having lived in 8 countries for 11 years, Jess motivates audiences with a universal message that your world changes once you change. With humanist and humor, she trains the mindset of adaptability, IQ, LinkedIn #1 skill for the future of work. Jessica is a bravery trainer, helping your ideas get the attention they deserve in different cultures. Having won 4 virtual European contests in 2020, including Toastmasters Best in Barcelona for international speech and this year in evaluation, she is working now in Asia and recently presented at the Expo of District 98, Eloquence. Presenter at India's Art of Speaking, Toastmaster member since age 16, a volunteer hospital clown. Here is Jessica Brightenfield. With a speech title, Adaptive Self-Leadership, How to Be Heard. Jessica, the screen is yours.
Remember, the wind in your hair, that one day when you did something that everyone told you wasn't the best idea, but you're pulled towards it, ladies and gentlemen. It could be that woman. It could be that tattoo. It could be that butter chicken that you ate every day for 6 weeks in Goa when you were 26. Do you remember when you were younger, your head full of hair and dreams and optimism? My dear leadership friends, Toastmasters, do you remember what you wanted to become? I'd love for you to type in the chat box what your dream was as a little Gurind, or a little Hanya, or a little Rania. What did you want to become? I had a dream, and in that dream, I was cruising through the city. Cruising through the city, like the wind in my hair, with no fears, no worries, and no seatbelt. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to become a garbage man when I was a kid. Who on else was allowed to drive with no seatbelt, standing at the back? Everybody clapping. Take away my garbage, like a hero. A smelly hero. I was the kind of kid that never wore pink as a child, that loved freedom and ran the cookie mafia in the kindergarten. becoming a garbage man appealed to my inner happiness, my leadership style, my freedom, my don't want to get married and have kids like me kind of attitude. And do you remember if you're anywhere close to what you had wanted to become? Have you become a leader in what you used to love to do? I had no choice really, except to follow the wind in my hair my whole life, because I met a very important woman. When we were little, she was called the cookie lady. She gave us cookies when our parents weren't watching. And when we got older, she gave us gin and tonic when our parents weren't watching. And she was a woman, my 86-year-old dating coach. She would grab my hand and say, Jessica, men, they want the same thing. Things don't change. When she was 86, she went to Mexico. She went water skiing with her 2 gay best friends. When she was 90, she would still drive old people to the hospital. She became my dating coach, my best friend, and my leadership mentor. She would grab me and she would look at me with those watery eyes, those puffy cheeks. She'd say, Jessica, do what you like, not what gets you likes. She didn't even know what Instagram was. But she knew that following the advice of mom, dad, the temple is an exhausting life to live. And we need to become our own leaders. Self-leadership. Now I followed my cookie lady's advice. I was a clown. I was traveling Canada. I was inspiring Aboriginal kids to be themselves, to graduate school, to have hope. And then I left it all because one guy, one very handsome guy, walked into my Toastmasters meeting, looked at me and said, with your personality, Jessica, you could make a lot of money. And I left what I loved and I went straight for hell. Selling disability insurance. It was the worst thing on earth. And as I had made money, the wind in my hair, everything else in my life broke, went down the hill. I even joined sugardaddies.com. I figured if I was gonna fall in love, I could fall in love with a rich man. Why not? Doesn't exist anyway. I was broken. How many of you have ever woken up one day and realized that you cannot continue, not one more day, not one more minute, doing this that doesn't feel right? You were not born to be an engineer just because your mom and your dad told you to become an engineer. You were meant to be an artist, or maybe you're meant to be a dancer. What were you meant to become? Who are you meant to lead? And if you don't hear this voice inside of you telling you, this is who you are, what are you going to end up regretting in your final years? Listening. I stopped, I quit, I said goodbye, and I went for an eat, pray, love. Mostly eating, butter chicken. I spent 7 months in India. I went to Cambodia, to Italy, and I tried to study what made my eyes light up, what made the song in my throat come alive, what was the bounce in my step, or the step in my bounce. And turns out, ladies and gentlemen, what you were good at as a child, what brought you joy, what made you laugh, what people said, you're really quite good at that. It's quite possible that that is where you're being led to. That's where your greatest power lies. That's where you should be. Now, becoming a leader. I respect the Leadership Summit, but that sounds like a lot of work. I got a lot of things to do out there. Who has time to become a leader? Unless, like Aletta said, you have a leader inside of you, that you were born, that God made you with a rooster inside, with a strength, with a confidence, with a self-leadership strength that you don't even know exists inside of you. That was a sad little rooster, right? I heard you guys earlier. Aletta, I met Aletta a couple of years ago, and I thought, this woman, this is what I want to become like when I turn 3 years older. Beautiful and inspiring, and such a great speaker. So to share the stage with her, to be considered a leader by Gurbinder is just, you know, and it's because I started listening to my heart again. I started following the wind in my hair. I left Canada. Oh gosh, I left India. I left Germany. I left all the places that I had explored. And I moved to Spain and started clowning. And I love clowning in hospitals. That brings me so much joy and not so much money. And I became a therapist. And now I live my life without a seatbelt. I ride a bike. And I help other women find their voice, find their rooster, find what they're supposed to be leading. If you're leading something that's not actually interesting to you, what kind of a leader are you going to be? If you wake up in the morning and you feel ready to lead people, you're probably on the right path. And I'd love to introduce you right now to something. Oh, I can't share a screen. Could you enable me to share the screen, Zoom Master? Yes, give me a thumbs up.
Done.
Yes. Okay, let me press it again. Oh, magic. Round of applause for our amazing host. And have you seen their posters? Didn't they do an amazing job? This is like super well done. I'm so pleased to be here with you guys today. Thank you for having me. And I will share my slide as a virtual background, pretend I'm not talking right now, and it went smoothly and the screen was being shared. Dun, da, da, da. 10 seconds to load. Ooh. How many of you would say that you are an emotionally intelligent leader? Hands in the air. Oh, look at my shirt. Woo, it's like my background. How fun is that? Okay, there are 12 emotional intelligences. These are things that you have to master. I want you to type in the chat box which one you have really well. This emotional intelligence, you know you got going on. We have a couple seconds here. Use your instinct. Empathy, thank you, Hannah. Yes, lovely. Coach says 105, PQD. I hope you're PQD, Gurbinder, Mr. Coach. You branded well. Teamwork, Viju, self-awareness, Siriam. Thank you very much. Self-awareness, Hannah, adaptability. Oh, guess where we're going towards, ladies and gentlemen? Adaptability. Oops, okay. Now, being emotionally intelligent means you can manage your emotions, you can motivate yourself, and then you can have relationships. If you don't know how to manage your emotions, if you don't know yourself, if you're not a self-motivated, emotionally intelligent leader, you cannot manage a team and you cannot even lead your kids to brush their teeth, right? Know thyself is the first step. And so adaptability quotient has become LinkedIn's #1 skill of the future. We need to know how to adapt. We need to know how to be empathetic. We need to know how to be a leader, how to be a coach, how to be a mom, how to be a dad, how to be kind, how to be tough, how to give money, not give. You need to know when is the right moment to make the right decision. And this requires a strong self-trust. And you need to know your emotions. You need to hear your emotions. You need to feel your emotions. Denying and repressing what's going on, terrible leader, right? So this is going to be the primary measure of success. You guys are going to be judged your higher ability based on how well you adapt. So learning how to adapt is much more important than what you're going to be learning and your kids learning in university. Because I can teach you programming, if you got a brain. I have a brain. Hard stuff, but I, at a new job, cannot teach you to have a mindset of a leader, the mindset of adapting. That takes a long time. So you better start now with me. It's a new competitive advantage. And it's not just a new thing, LinkedIn, by the way. Darwin has said it quite clearly. If you don't adapt, you... And 91% of HR managers think that you will be assessed by your adaptability, how you make decisions with confidence, how you see the whole picture, how you don't sweat through your shirt. I know it's hot in India. You're allowed to sweat through your shirt, but still, the confidence of a rooster. I'm sorry that I'm stealing her idea, but hello, I can't get the rooster out of my head. What a beautiful image, right? The rooster leading, adapting to his little chicks, right? Now, type in the chat box, what have you adapted to lately? Something that a year ago, before Corona, you might have never thought were possible. Public speaking, Hannah, and now you're gorgeous and stunning and motivating. Look at you. Congratulations. Virtual meetings, Abhikesh. Gurvinder, online meetings. Yeah, who would have thought that was going to stay? Challenge cycling. We learned how to cycle during COVID. Working out at home. Who did that? That sounds terrible. Don't do that. Yoga on Zoom. I know that doesn't sound very Zenish. Meditation. Oh, so hard, Hannah. Accepting the presence. Ramajam. Thank you. That was beautiful. Now, I have a 3-step method if I move my head. Listen, accept, and build. This will get you guys in any situation closer to adaptability, to dealing with what's in front of you. You listen. Ladies and gentlemen, put 2 thumbs beside your head if you're a great listener. 1 thumb beside your head if you're still married. And la, 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 if you have no idea what I just asked you to do. Thank you for your honesty. Aleta's got 2, Suchita's got 2, thank you. TJ, I didn't see it, I was flipping through. What'd you got, 2, 1? You can't hear me, perfect. Now, listening. How are you going to be a leader if you don't listen to your heart when it's anyone remember Roxette from the 90s? Not big in the Middle East? Aleta, you know it. Come on. You have to listen. Hear and hear. If you don't listen, you have no idea what's going on. Once you hear it, you need to accept that it's true. You might not want it to be true. Nobody wants to lose 8 kilos because Corona locked us in our houses and we couldn't go outside. But you need to accept the reality. Only then can you go towards the future. Only then can you build a team that is going to solve the problems. If you pretend there's no problems, you are not leading anyone. You're not leading yourself. You are not real. You're not even a half glass empty one. You're like, there's no glass, right? We have to be able to accept, and then we build together as a team. First, build with yourself. Being honest with yourself about who you are, what your skills are not, and working towards becoming the best you can. Only then will anyone ever be interested in following you, because you're an authentic leader who knows who they are and what they want and what it takes to get there. There are different ways that you can deal with problems. The self-positive, the self-leading, the confident one is going to choose one of these ways to respond to problems. Type in the chat box which you think might be the most efficient, effective, positive way to collaborate with your teams. No, yes, yes, but, or yes, and. Chiquita, you are the winner. Send her the prize. Good job. Exactly. Whenever you say yes, but, you cut. I learned that in India. You guys are amazing. You taught me that last week. Yes, and Anuraj. Thank you. Mithu. Yes, and Shiram. Yes, and you guys are so smart. Thank you, Rania. Yes, and nobody dares say anything else now because everyone knows what the teacher wanted to hear, right? We're going to be doing exercise. You are going to be practicing the adaptability intelligence with 3 other people in a breakout room for 3 minutes. What you're going to be doing is telling a story. But oh, look at my eyes. That's kind of scary, huh? Woo! That was fun. And you're going to be using the attitude of yes and. Yes, and you build the story. Once upon a time, there was a rooster. And the next person says, yes, and that rooster felt like a chicken. Yes, and. So he decided to practice making the noise. Yes, and. He became confident. Yes, and. So the 3 of you are going to create a yes and story together. The person with the longest hair is going to be starting in the breakout room with the yes and story. You'll have 3 minutes. You will start with once upon a time, there was a chicken, dog, duck, human, and every day, until one day. I want you to do a table topic with the 3 of you. Okay, you are being invited to a breakout room, and I'd like you to use the past tense and don't talk about you. It makes it more difficult to have fun here because we don't want to give any secrets away about how crazy you are. So yes, and that person did something. In just a second, you'll be invited to a breakout room and you will go there. You're going to press the button and I'll see you back in 3 minutes with an idea about where you went. I want you to type in the chat box where your crazy story or not so crazy went. Breakout rooms ready, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Invite them away. Perfect. Okay. Did you open the rooms?
Yes, it's open. And most of them are joined.
Oh,
Few
yeah.
of joining, yes.
Okay, I didn't get invited, so you did a very good job. Usually I get invited, but Zoom Master didn't invite us. So my beautiful Viju and Shakita and Hannah. You want to play with us, Hannah?
Yes, sure.
We go alphabetical. So J-H-J-K-L. Wait, H. Hannah, Jessica, Shakita, and Viju. You started off, Hannah.
Once upon a time, I was at the leadership summit.
Or sorry, once upon a time, he, not about us. Easier. Yeah.
Once upon a time, we have Viju was in the leadership summit 2021.
And Viju was feeling so inspired by all of these amazing faces that were listening so carefully that he decided to open up a leadership training school.
Am I audible?
Yes.
And yes, I could hear a lot of stories, and that stories made me a better trainer.
And yes, he became a good trainer, and then he decided to train the trainers. And then he went over to Hannah, the first person he approached as a trainer.
Yes, and he inspired Hannah and made her a leader.
And Hannah traveled around the world speaking to women to inspire them to be brave and step on stage and lead a leadership summit in less than 1 year in Toastmasters. And children around the world would scream, Hannah, Hannah.
And yes, Hannah invited me to the world beautiful place of nature, which is Lebanon, to set up a new center wherein she can bring in all her community to get trained in the leadership courses.
And yes, with that training school going full swing, Hannah decided to host a leadership summit just to gather a few more leaders, few more perspectives, and few more future trainees and trainers for her school.
Yes, and The trainers and the training centers didn't only stick to Lebanon, it expanded worldwide. And this is how we created this how she created this ripple effect to the whole world.
And the moral of the story is anyone?
You give your best and the best comes back to you.
There we go. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, Jessica.
Thank you. We really enjoyed.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yes. The
Thanks,
breakout
Jessica.
room. You're welcome. No, thank you. I was just one of 4. I think the breakout room should be closing any second. I can't quite see what the timing is, so we'll wait for them to pop back. Many people didn't go, so I assume you're all still watching us. 4 pages of people did not go to the breakout rooms. So either none of you have brushed your hair today, or you are not here. I hope you are just leaders with unbrushed hair. So
Yes, unbrushed hair. I totally agree.
I hear you. Great. Jadish, could you just type to me the minute that I have left? I'm just waiting for them to come back. Thank
It's
you.
already 23 minutes.
Perfect. So if they come back, I can finish that off wherever the Zoom host is. I think it was 3 minutes. So
They joined back.
there they are, ladies and gentlemen. They came back. Thank you for participating, guys. This is the attitude. Not going to a breakout room. I gotta say, it's not a yes and attitude. It's a yes, but I didn't brush my hair. It's a yes, but I don't want to turn on my camera. Yes, I have bad bandwidth. You could use voice, right? You decide every day, thousands of times, what decision and what attitude you have. Do you have an adaptive attitude, or do you have a yes, but not now, not yet, I'm not young enough, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too, right? The mindset of a leader, ladies and gentlemen, starts with yes, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for this inspiring speech. Listen, accept, and build. Do what you like, not to get likes. Forget the money leaders and start inspiring like Jessica Breitenfield. Thank you again. And we kindly, if you can keep your camera on, and please accept this certificate of honor on behalf of District 105. We will be taking the picture now.
Oh. I've never had a certificate with my picture on it. It's so cool. Wow, thank you for
And
having me.
we will share it with you also after the summit.
Wow, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. That photograph is taken. Now, it is time to move to our third speaker for this evening. Mercy Mignino. Educated as a teacher and working as a journalist, paralegal, communications director, and campaign manager, Mercy Mignino is the eldest daughter of 9 children, where she learned to lead a divergent group toward a common goal and to persist even in the face of impossible challenges. Armed with this background and a passion for advocacy, she worked in the rough and tumble world of the New York State legislature, serving as Director of Communications in both the state Assembly and State Senate. For the past 20 years, Mercy has run a successful coaching practice and conducts training and coaching for numerous organizations, including the International Coach Academy, Coach A, Blanchard Coaching, Laser Coaching, Clearing Beliefs, and several employee assistance programs. Mercy is a master certified coach who works with executives and entrepreneurs and mentors and trains coaches worldwide. Welcome, Mercy. Can you confirm the audio by saying hello?
Hello. Hi, Hannah. How are you? It sounds like you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much, and we're looking forward for your speech. With the speech title, Leader as a Coach.
All
Leader
right.
as a Coach,
Wow.
Mercy, the screen is yours.
All right. Thank you. I'm a little like I love what Jessica shared, my most recent adaptability story. So I first had the wrong time for this conference. I checked it 3 or 4 times, and yet I still did it wrong. So of course, I experienced some stress. Then I had made arrangements because I'm traveling to a wedding, and I made arrangements with one of these, working spaces so I could go in and do the call. But that was at a different time than the call was. So my adaptability today was, okay, I have the wrong time. I had a little bit of stress, a little bit of reaction, but I know I was reacting. That's self-awareness that comes with emotional intelligence. Instead of spiraling into, I don't know what I would have spiraled into, but instead I said, okay, yes, you had the wrong time. And now what? Okay, so I search for Wi-Fi. I figured, hey, if it can't get Wi-Fi, I'll do it on my phone. I'll tether my phone and use that. That didn't work. So, and I'm on the road. So I had to be extremely adaptable today. And I do appreciate everything that Jessica shared about that. I think it's it's the secret to life is adaptability. It's all about what can you change? What can't you change? And if you need, what do you need to make the change? And leaders need to do this in real time. We don't have the luxury of staying in a reaction for very long, right? Because if we do, it will affect how we motivate people, how we inspire each other. So today, Leader as Coach. I really believe that coaching embodies the basic and tried and true principles of leadership. Listening without an agenda, without judgment, without trying to fix a situation right off the bat. Listen for who the person in front of you is. What is making this a challenge for them? That's usually a perspective, right? Or an idea or a thought or some kind of reaction they're stuck in. So when I put together my PowerPoint, I wanted to use coaching as just one of the leadership tools we all have. I don't care if you're a leader in your own life or leader for people, either way they apply. And I just read a Gallup poll that said coaching once a week was the silver bullet that companies need to outperform others and to keep employees engaged. And I think that really, for me, just edifies everything that I've devoted my life to in the last 20 years. So I'm going to share my screen, all right? And I'll talk you through here. And by all means, use the chat if you have questions. Due to the number of participants, I probably won't catch you all, but I do appreciate it. And I'm sure the video will capture the text as well. All right. So let's get started. All right, here we go. Oh, goodness. Let's get rid of this. Let's move this over here. And let's get rid of this and move this over here. Little logistics, talk about adaptability. Here we go. And let's start from here. And I am indeed wearing the same jacket because I think one of the things that Cock-a-doodle-doo does for us is makes us comfortable standing out. And the yellow jacket for me is a symbol of that. All right. When I was young, I was one of 9 children, and pretty much I was told to sit down and be quiet. And I started out in my work life doing that. And then I soon learned that, as Jessica was saying, that wasn't gratifying, right? I felt like I was trying to be someone I'm not. So I will talk about stepping out as leader, as well as what does it look like? And I'm trying to get the, start from this slide. Here we go. All right. So being a coaching leader, there are many times when you have to direct, you have to advise, you have to consult, you have to impart knowledge. But no matter what your strategy is for any given situation, a coach approach puts you in the leadership mindset. So what does that mean? Let's take a look. So today I want to look at coaching and leadership and where they intersect and where they differ from other coaching and leadership tools. And what makes a good coach, the attributes of a coach, and then what are these skills that we can start applying today? And what are the ones you're already using? That yes and that we just heard about, that's a great little synopsis of the posture a leadership has to have and a coach has to have, right? We can't rush to push anything away. We want to lean into it. So as Robert Hargrove said, coaching is about realizing an impossible future. It helps us do what we don't think we can do, but we still have a vision, and it helps those around us to hold on to a vision, even if it's, kind of, we don't know how we're going to get there. So it's an acting in a way that promotes the continual development of the skills of people in an organization. And you notice it's people. We're always talking about people. They are the fuel of any organization. So this, it comes from the International Coach Federation. It's a very commonly accepted definition. It's partnering with someone in a thought-provoking and creative process. Partnering means I'm not ahead of you, I'm not behind you. I'm one with you, no matter what my title is. If I really want to communicate with someone, I have to have a partnership happening. Now, you can't do this all the time, but that gap, immeasurable results. And the other thing is thought provoking. It's not just listening, all right? It's not just like, It means that I'm going to challenge your perspective. I'm going to say, look, not the person, I'm not challenging them, but they may have a perspective that's getting in the way. Common things are like blaming others, blaming a pandemic, which takes away your power. And when I hear, someone in leadership using this kind of, way out of things, I think of a victim. And that's a very strong word. But I have shared that with the VPs and the CEOs that I coach because A, it gets them to stand up. It's a strong word and it provokes thought. All right. And that's what we want to do. We want to point out things we're seeing that the other person may not be seeing, because the answer in every single situation is to change the way you see it, that adaptability. All right. So moving right along. And I know from doing this many, many times, I often get questions. I can't really coach all the time. I mean, I've got to run this company or I've got to manage this team. Well, you're not coaching all the time. You will put coaching in your toolbox. Every one of these are things that coaches and leaders have in common, but coaching is one tool. So there are times when an internship or mentoring is required, giving somebody the benefit of your experience, trainings, bridging the gap. What do they need to work at their highest potential? Job shadowing. Often a leader will, as they say, walk around, go visit places so that we get the sense of culture and the dynamic of the people in our organization. And coaching is there for really learning about a person, really understanding the mindset that they're in that's helping them move forward and the mindset that might be holding them back. I think for me and most coaches, this is where true growth and change happens, with not fixing the event, not fixing the person, but looking at it with a yes and attitude. All right. So you think you can't do this. Okay. And, what can you do? Or, and what else is possible? And what else is true? Or, all those yes ands, even if you don't use those two words together, that's your posture. So I've coached for one major pharmaceutical international company, and they did something called 30 for 30. That means that each manager and director would meet with their team members one-on-one for 30 minutes every 30 days. And that would be a pure coaching time. Yes, of course, projects and other things might come up, but that wasn't the agenda for the meeting. Actually, the employee set the agenda for the meeting. How can I support you? All right. And then you act as a leader. You listen, you don't judge, you consider, and then you also provoke a little different kinds of thinking. And then you move into what strategies or tactics are necessary here. We don't do that first, because if someone doesn't change their mind, odds are any strategy is a temporary fix. It will not be sustainable. All right. This is a very typical 7-step coaching model. And for the workplace especially, and I'm not going to read each level here. You've got the screen in front of you, but you can see that these are building blocks. All right. What is the existing skills? What inspires people? Like Jessica said, what did you want to be when you grew up? When you were little? Maybe I don't want to be a firefighter or a garbage man, but what did I love to do? Because embedded in that somewhere is what's always going to make you happy. So your goals and objectives have to be yours, and they have to align with the company if you're going to be happy in that role. We observe. That's a big thing. When was the last time you just observed something without making any judgments or trying to fix it? All right. Feedback. Feedback is, often we think feedback is always negative. We have this immediate reaction. Feedback is merely sharing something you've noticed and then inquiring of the person that you're sharing this with what they see about it. That's where the answers are. All right. And then in order to be sustainable, you have to do this and follow up and check in. That's the accountability part of coaching. And leadership. So why can coaching be an effective strategy? All right. So if you want, you can put that in the chat box. All right. Back here for a minute. Yeah. And okay. And I'm going to go back a slide. There it is. There's my chat box. All right. So I see my voice is cracking. Yes, I'm afraid I have to lean on the adaptability thing because my Wi-Fi seems a little sketchy. All right. So bear with me. Hopefully it improves. Thank you. All right. So these are like things you can put into place today. First, ask before telling somebody, either your opinion, what you do, what you would do to fix it. Ask first. What do you think? What have you tried? What might be a different way? What would you need to believe in order to change this? All right, ask. And always ask open-ended questions. You know, they usually begin with the word what or how. And then release judgment. And this is the hardest part of it. I do a lot of diversity and bias training, and this is so automatic for human beings that you have to make a purposeful, concerted effort to release judgment, because you will have judgments. It's just the way the brain works. And that allows us to be curious. And that's the key to asking questions, making them open, and letting go of judgment. So, coaches, curiosity. You know, when was the last time you were curious about something? I remember research that said, you know, as we age, curiosity diminishes. And I think it's also part of adaptability. And in order to be agile, one has to be curious about abilities. All right. And you have to value learning, which means you're never evolved to the point where you're as evolved as you're going to be. It's that open mind. I think, and about others, stand and the best way to understand people is to listen. You know, they didn't really kind of loved you, cared about you, but they didn't really understand. I think of that. Because you start the world with a posture of different, or there's a loneliness to it. So the next time you don't know what to do for somebody, just listen. Listen, right? And just like reflect back to the, these are open ways. Seems like you're really upset, or it sounds as if you're feeling. That's those questions. You get to those first, and then you move to action. All right, and then you move to support. Okay. All right, so this slide, this is all about perspective, right? This gentleman on the desert island sees a boat, yay, and the person on the boat is like this. So it's all things. Actually, as far as I'm concerned, the secret to success. Take a situation and reframe it. And we all did this during the pandemic, right? We had this lockdown, this constraint, and we could have looked at it like limiting and frustrating and whatever. We also found new possibilities. People found time.
Merci. I guess your voice is cutting. We cannot hear you anymore. Maybe request you close the video. Maybe it will be helpful. Okay, we're just going to wait for a few seconds for our speaker to reconnect. Okay, we have you back, Mercy, and we are going to unmute you now. Perfect.
Thank
We
you.
lost you at some point. It's all about perspective. Okay, we lost you again, so we wish if you can hear us and confirm that you can hear us. We apologize for our audience. It seems that the internet connectivity is not doing well today, and we will make sure to reconnect in just few. So Mercy, we want to thank you for this inspirational speech. To be honest, we got the most of it so far. So I just want to make sure you are with us because you disappeared. Okay, you're here connecting. We just lost you in the end, and I believe that you had valuable insights. We were able to capture the slides, so thank you for that. And you mentioned something about always talk about people. So we want to tell our audience to always talk about people, partner with people, and to remember that it's all about perspective. Now, Mercy, if you are with us, we would like to hand over the certificate. We can share the certificate and then share it back again. So please accept the certificate of honor on behalf of District 105.
She's joining.
Perfect. We will just wait for Mercy in order to capture the picture. In the meantime, we can ask our
having me get apologies for the internet.
No problem. We honestly enjoyed your speech and we captured most of it. We just lost you in the end, and we want to thank you again for being with us. We know we have some technological challenges, and thank you for adapting your time to be with us tonight. And it was a true inspirational speech. We're now taking the picture. Thank you so much. Now we will call for a break. We will reconvene at 6:09. We're just going to have it for 2 minutes. So it's going to be 6:20 p.m. Okay, so for our audience, we are going to reconvene at 6:20 p.m. Dubai time. So if you are wherever you are in the world, just make sure to do the time converting. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, audience, for your high level of engagement and excitement. And we also want to thank our speakers for their time and efforts. Cuckoo by Anita. Yes, and Listen, Accept, and Build by Jessica. Yes, and It's All About Perspective by Mercy. Thank you so much for all the inspiring tips and insights. And I believe most of our audience will be using them starting from now, with adaptability, listening, and talking about people. Our break has ended, and we'll hand over back to our SAA Theodore.
I'm sure those speeches definitely made us all rethink about our ways in life, isn't it? Now it is time for me to call the next MC onto the stage. She's an electrical engineer as well as an MBA graduate and is currently employed in the oil and gas sector. She has previously served at various leadership roles in Toastmasters as well. Her personal opinion is that leaders should walk the talk, have a strong long-term vision, and should earn the respect of others voluntarily rather than by force or position. Creative by nature, she loves painting, reading, and traveling as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming DTM Devi Narayan onto the stage with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, Athra, for that wonderful introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on whichever part of the world that you have joined in from. Welcome back to the second half of the Leadership Summit organized by District 105. Leadership is often defined as the accomplishment of a goal through the direction of human assistance. And a successful leader is one who can understand people's motivations and enlist that participation in a manner that marries individual needs and interests to the group's purpose. To be successful, leaders must learn two basic lessons. Number one, people are complex. Number two, people are different. While we have seen ample examples of successful leadership in the past and present in the political arena and across corporate organizations, today I would like to narrate the story of a little girl who had the courage to exhibit exemplary leadership. The story is of Akshaya, an 8-year-old girl. Her older brother was a Cavalier. On and off, she had the opportunity to witness some of the proceedings of Gavel Club meetings. Now, to those who are not aware, Gavel Clubs are a way of providing Toastmaster experience to people aged between 12 and 17. Slowly, Akshaya started taking interest in the Gavel Club meetings and set a goal for herself: to be a good public speaker. One day, she got excited and asked her mother, "Mom, I want to join that club too." Her mother took her to the Gavel Club coordinator, who politely said, "Sorry, dear, you are too young. The age limit is 12. Don't worry. Once you turn 12, we will take you in." But Akshaya wasn't satisfied. A few days later, she announced at home, "Well, if they don't allow me to join that club, I will start my own." Her parents were confused, but she was certain. "I will start my own speaking club at home with all of you and my friends. Dad, you will be the president of the club. You will be tired after returning from work, so you just do the opening and the closing of the meetings. Mom, you will be the VP Education. You are good at planning. Actually, much better than Dad. Brother, I and other friends will take up the other roles. Wow, wasn't that amazing? Guess what? The club ran successfully and they even held annual club contests. Friends, let me ask you this. Isn't she an effective leader? Years later, when she finally became 12, she joined the same Gather Club, took up leadership positions there, and emerged as a champion speaker in the contests. Friends, let us analyze the story. That 8-year-old girl had a goal to be a good public speaker. She used all the available resources, assessed their capabilities, and married them to the group's larger purpose. She was a successful leader. Today, we have a lineup of speakers who will be speaking about the different facets of leadership. Let us listen attentively and learn more. Our first speaker after the break is Sadik Neelgund. Sadik Neelgund is the founder of Network FP, a leading online knowledge platform for personal finance professionals in India. Network FP, established in 2011 as a community of professionals, aims to help every Indian family achieve holistic financial well-being. Today, his speech title is Falling in Love with Purpose. Hello, Mr. Sadik. Can you please confirm to check your audio settings?
Yes. Hi, Devi. Is it all good?
Yes, you're very audible. Hello, Mr. Sadik.
Hello.
Welcome to the summit. Friends, with a huge round of virtual applause, please join me in welcoming Sadik Neelgund. Mr. Sadik, the screen is all yours.
Thank you so much, Devi. Thank you, Gurbinderji, and thank you, Toastmasters. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have been an average guy throughout my life. At home, at work, in my school, and in my college. But that has not stopped me from dreaming big. Dreaming big, much bigger than my capabilities. By big, I really do not mean making a dent in this universe as defined by Steve Jobs of Apple. It's just about expanding my capabilities and being the best version of myself and make a difference to maximum people in my lifetime through my work. My organization, Network FP, helps families achieve financial well-being through professionals. That is my purpose, which I accidentally discovered 15 years back. And I've been living it for the last 15 years and thoroughly enjoying it. Allow me to share this journey with all of you today of falling in love with purpose and being in love with purpose. Being in love with purpose is, according to me, the most exciting thing that can happen to in one's lifetime. And I've been fortunate, and I'd like to share my journey. In 2004, I happened to get an opportunity and was selected to do my internship, my MBA internship with world's leading bank. During my project, I was supposed to do generate sales and generate leads and sales and do some sales for some financial products, financial and investment products. It was only during the project, after I joined the project, during my internship, I discovered it was through cold calling. For over 2 months, I went door to door, office to office, banging door to door, meeting people. And in those 2 months, I didn't generate a single lead, not a single sale. This was a huge disappointment. It was a failure. I could not believe that this is happening with me. And then I started searching. Okay, I mean, the whole thing about this success and failure is success gives us confidence, whereas failure shatters our confidence. And I couldn't believe that this is happening with me. So once this episode happened in my life, I started searching for the right way of doing financial advisory and advising people on money and investments. I started searching the internet for what is the right way. With me, it was something to do with the process, something which I was not getting right. And that's when I stumbled upon the process called financial planning. Financial planning as a concept helps us to deliver advice based on needs and requirements of our clients. This is it. I thought, this is it. I think I've discovered what really needs to be done to be a good financial advisor. I started searching more, and I was very clear that this is something I wanted to take up in my career and see if I could, kind of flirt with it and then engage with it and see if I could work on this for the rest of my life. So friends, purpose, according to me, is not really served for most of us on plate. It is accidentally found during pains. It is actually, sometimes it's also found by observing problems around us. And it's not really, frankly speaking, it really is, we do not discover purpose by doing some strategy and exercises. It happens, it just happens. When it happens, it just happens through observations and experiences. Sometimes it is accidental, and sometimes, we are forced into, our circumstances forced into the purpose. In India, there are two kinds of marriages: love marriage and arranged marriage. Both are successful, and in both the cases, we find divorces. Similar is the case with purpose. It can work or it may not work, but we need to make an attempt to try it. So that was about my accidental discovery of my purpose. Then in 2005, I was looking for a job. I was very sure that I'm going to be, I want to try this out and do something around this. In 2005, I started searching for a job. And I looked up to an online directory of financial advisors and planners. And I looked up for an online directory and wrote to 100 of financial planners, certified financial planners, seeking and showing interest in seeking a job opportunity. No one replied except one. And that one was a not-for-profit organization and institute which issued certification to financial planners. Interview happened. They offered me a job and I accepted. But joining a not-for-profit after MBA, my family and friends really could not understand this. How can we be joining a not-for-profit after doing MBA? You should be doing marketing, you should be doing business, you should be doing sales, working in corporation, big brands and all that stuff. But I took it, although none of my family and friends really understood it. But I took the offer with the not-for-profit organization. And I must say that has been the best decision of my career, of joining a not-for-profit. It really didn't matter to me what was the organization, what was the job. What mattered to me was I was getting an opportunity to explore my purpose, the thing which I wanted to really do. And this organization gave me that opportunity. And I must say, after joining the organization, I met a lot of people. I made a lot of connects in the industry and got a very good exposure to financial planning. So friends, purpose again, and it goes back to my core thing of purpose. Purpose really helps us to take risks, go beyond our comfort zone and go beyond the society norms. It helps us prepare to take challenges, and it helps us to really help us do what we want to do. And another thing, I think purpose also helps us to reach out to people. If we have a clarity of purpose, it really helps us to reach out to people for help. I wrote to those 100 people, and one person who really mattered replied. That was it. The universe conspires when we have a purpose. Once I started doing the work, after 4 years of work at this not-for-profit, I keenly wanted to do some real financial advisory with families. I started looking out for a job again. The best opportunity which came by me, which served my purpose, pursuing of my purpose, gave me an offer with a 50% salary cut. That was my next salary was supposed to be 50% less than last round salary. Once again, not a real good career move, but I took it up. That's because I desperately wanted to do something and move my career forward in this profession. And I must say once again that decision of taking a salary cut and joining this organization was another turning point of my career. I got to do real financial planning, meet families, understand their aspirations, understand human behavior around money management, prepare a process around doing financial plans, and I also developed my own application to do financial plans in less time. That was a short stint of 2 years with 50% pay cut. But if I had not taken that decision of taking this offer with a salary cut, I wouldn't have got the foundations right to set up the organization which I set up today. Once again, purpose helps us to really take, helps us to go through those short-term pains and lay down the foundations for long-term gains. I really believe that whenever we get an opportunity, we should look at a long-term perspective rather than the short-term perspective. When anything helps us, if any opportunity helps us to pursue our purpose and profession, go grab it. That's what I've come to believe after that episode in my life. Now, after 2 years in that particular organization, now it was time for me to do something on my own. Preeti, my wife and I, who is also the co-founder of Network FP, my organization, we decided to start together. Preeti, my wife, has also been a great sounding board and the greatest cheerleader of my life. She was fed up with her job, and I wanted to start off my own. And we started. Now, when we started, we really didn't have a clue what to do. But we wanted to do something in this. But before we jumped in, we said, okay, let's enjoy. Okay, so we went backpacking for 3 months across India, right from Kerala in south to Kashmir in the north. And that, my friends, was the best phase, the personal phase of our best phase of our personal life, I must say. We didn't have any plan. We went with almost always one-way tickets, and also with really no plans around how we are going to build a business after we come back. But we went. So after once we lived our backpacking dreams, we got down to business. We started. We didn't know we really didn't know how this will work out. But the only thing which I was very sure about is we will be able to do something good with our life. Not worry. I also remember telling my wife, in case this doesn't work out, we'll go back to our hometown and do farming. That was the statement which I used to often tell my wife, Preeti. So we got into business and we started. We started our business with 50,000 rupees. That's around $700 only, out of a small 200 square feet home where a lot of neighbors' kids used to play around us when we were working. But those 3 years were real fun. Although it was challenging, but it was fun, of which we, during the initial phases of our life. In fact, entrepreneurs, I think the best phase of entrepreneur's life is during the startup. After that, life and work catches up. This episode of my life taught me that the purpose really builds confidence in us, confidence in the future. It tells us, don't worry, something good will happen. Since you have the right intention, you'll be able to do something good with your life. That clarity and deepness of purpose is important. I also believe that purpose keeps you alive and in the game, no matter how uncertain is the future and how difficult is the game. So we went through this 3 to 5 years of journey. And then during this time, we also started meeting a lot of financial advisors, senior people in the industry, and told them what we were planning to do in the business. We wanted to help the fraternity members, the professionals, connect with each other and learn from each other so that they can serve their clients better. That was the idea. Nobody understood this. I mean, okay, this sounds good, but where's the business? Nobody really understood what we were up to. But one thing, my friends, one thing which came across all the meetings which we did with all the senior people is they said, Sadiq, if you need any help, let us know. This, I really couldn't believe this, what's happening with my life. And my learning from this is when you have a right intention, a deep purpose to make some meaningful difference to people's life, no matter what people will, no matter how much they understand about you, if they see the intent, they will help you. They'll come forward to support you. In fact, this support which I've gathered from the industry, from my fraternity, is the most surprising element of being an entrepreneur for me. Today, Network FP is mostly run by volunteers and task force members, with a very good support from internal team. And this, I believe, is, because purpose attracts people. Purpose really attracts people. People want to be associated with good purpose, with good intent, and with good cause. And then you start receiving help from known and unknown quarters. This, again, when people came into the organization, they start getting attached to the organization. Another strange thing happened. And that is, they started demanding more from us. They started encouraging more from us, encouraging us and to do more and more. And our purpose expanded. When we started, our lifetime purpose was to have 500 members. Lifetime purpose was to have just 500 members and do some workshop and conferences. Today, I'm glad to say that we have over 1,000 members across 100 plus cities. And this has happened because our people forced us and encouraged us through this 10 years of journey. So people get attracted to purpose, and people also expand purpose. And I believe this cycle will go on till the lifetime of our organization. This has been happening for the last 10 years now, since we started on our own. In 2020, something happened which we all know, COVID-19, okay? And it has affected most of us personally and professionally. 50% of our revenues came from sponsorships from physical events. We used to host India's largest conference for financial advisors over 3 days, around 2,000 people attending physically. In 2020, we were once again clueless about our future. We had invested in 2019, we had invested in our dream office and had taken on board many new team members in anticipation of growth. And here we were, uncertainty and fixed costs staring at us, glaring. And then once again in 2020, in the second quarter of 2020, my team quickly put together, conceptualized and put together India's largest virtual conference. And that conference was attended by over 2,000 people live. Sponsors didn't come by. Sponsors didn't come by citing Zoom fatigue. But our people, the members, came seeing relevance. This, friends, taught me that when you have a strong purpose, you're able to adapt to changes really very fast. When your core remains intact, no matter how much the environment changes, we are able to adapt. This is happening externally, okay? There are challenges which remains in our industry with the regulations changes, the industry changes, consumer awareness, but we are pushing forward our purpose. We know that our purpose is much larger than all the challenges which are around us. And at a very personal level, I'm also evolving, learning. I have a lot of I still am, though it's a leadership summit, I really don't think that I'm all that great a leader still, and I lack skills. The major skills which I lack are time management skills, communication skills, team building skills, and I'm learning. I'm making an attempt to learn, to improvise. I read books, I attend trainings. I've even started working with a coach just to improvise. And that's because my purpose and the vision which has been derived out of that purpose is forcing me to do that. So purpose really, I think, helps us to be the best version of ourselves because we continually keep improving. Now this COVID-19 has passed, not really passed by, but we are confident that we'll face it come what may. In the last 10 years of starting up, we have grown 10x, and we have set a goal to grow 10x in the next 10 years by 2030. And we have a goal of growing 1000x in the lifetime. And I believe each and every individual can grow 1000x from the start of his career. That's my belief system. Now, I personally had never dreamt of this goal. This is too big for me. I mean, I was just an average guy, right? But once my friend told me, one of my senior friend in the industry told me, Sadiq, dream big. Dreams have a funny way of coming true. And I must say they do. And when dreams have a very strong purpose, which is impacting lives, it makes it so much more exciting and fun. I don't mind waking up till 3 a.m. in the morning for my work. I don't mind replying to each and every email and message which I get. I don't mind facing all the changes and challenges around us. Bring it on. Let it be, whatever. Because I believe my purpose is much bigger than all the pains and frustrations which we go through. So that's my, the 10-year journey and the 10-year vision. Now, coming finally to, at the end of this talk, this purpose of financial well-being and financial advisor has been helping me and my family immensely too. Because of a professional, I think we have a sense at my family, Preeti, me and my son Kabir, we have a sense of financial well-being and financial freedom. We have been able to achieve all our goals in the past, and we are confident of achieving all our financial goals in the future. We really don't have to worry about money. Not that we have a lot of money, no. If somebody is mistaking it for that, no, we don't have a lot of money, but we are confident of living a good life. And we have lived a good life, and we are confident of living a good life in future. We have bought a house, we are debt-free, we go on vacations, my son is getting good education, what else? And all this is happening, I believe, because we have been mindful of money management right from the start, because we have a professional who stands by us during the ups and downs in our journey, because he's guiding us day in and day out on what to be doing and how to be achieving financial well-being and financial freedom. Now, we are comfortable with our money, and we are confident about it. I left my job. We both left our job. We went backpacking. I mean, who really leaves a job and spends? Okay, everybody was laughing at us, but we were able to do that because we had saved and because we had invested. That's the kind of comfort and confidence which money management gives us. Now, if my family and me can do this, I believe every single family in India and in the world can achieve financial well-being and financial freedom. And that's the mission which really excites me now. If I can do it, can we help? Can I help every single family? And I don't know how many families we'll be able to impact, but the mission is to try and impact millions of families till my lifetime, till I'm alive. That's what really is my purpose, vision, and dream now. I really now live, we are living this dream with this purpose. My late father, a man of few words, said once, Sadiq, doing business the right way is the best form of social service. It was deep. It was deep. It was really deep. I never understood it during my childhood. It's only when I started off, I started realizing and absorbing this statement. Business, doing business in the right way is actually social service. We don't have to be doing social service in the sense which society tells us to do. It's just that do things the right way and you're doing a good work for this society and the world. Finally, I'd like to end this with saying that I'm proud to be an average guy with average skills, with average intelligence and a middle-class background. But having discovered my purpose accidentally, I've been able to live a great life with great purpose and have a vision which has the potential to impact millions of lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sadiq. I just loved it when you said purpose is not served on a plate, but is accidentally found through observation or experience. And the 3 steps for a purposeful life, well, you explained it briefly. Expand your capabilities, perform to the best of that expanded set of capabilities, and create a difference in the lives of others. Purpose is what drives you, keeps you alive, and makes you more adaptive. And to Mr. Sadiq, you really have a noble purpose. So let's have a huge round of applause for him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sadiq. Please accept this honor and of appreciation and gratitude from District 105. And I request you to keep your camera switched on so that we can have a photograph of yours.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Stathik.
Thank you.
Moving on, our next speaker is Mr. Magan Kalra. Mr. Magan Kalra is an internationally recognized business growth coach, a world-class trainer, and a #1 best-selling author of his book called Success Isn't a Problem, Our Ignorance Is. He has trained across Asia, America, Europe, Middle East, and Africa to over 60 different nationalities. He works with clients like Adobe, Coca-Cola, BMW, Oriflame, Novartis, amongst many. He's also managing trustee for a trust that funds education for the underprivileged. Mr. Magan is ranked among the top 10 trainers in the world and heads a highly successful corporate training and consulting organization called the Performance Advantage Group. Today, he will be presenting his views on leadership. Hello, Mr. Magan. Can you please confirm to check your audio?
Hello, Devi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. Congratulations on putting on such a huge show.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Magan Kalra.
Yay!
The screen is all yours.
All right. All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody, whichever part of the world you're listening from or watching me. I just want to begin by thanking each one of you for taking time out to be here, and Toastmasters District 105 and Mr. Gurbinder Pim, who's one of the biggest givers I've ever met in my life, for giving me this opportunity to be here. We've heard a lot of speakers speak about a lot of valuable and meaningful lessons on leadership. And like I promised that, learning and leadership is indispensable to each other. And I'm going to contribute my 2 bits. And this takes me back actually to January 2001. I somehow landed my dream job at that time. And credit goes to Mr. Gurbinder Pun. That's another story, which maybe some other time I'd love to share. But January 2001, and it was Delhi, India. So it's freezing. And I had my scooter, my 2-wheeler, and I was riding that. I'd actually gone to office. I had some work. It was a new job. And I had keys to the office. I remember it was Sunday morning. So there was nobody at the office. I went to the office. I did my work. I came back. And the moment I came back and I parked my scooter, I suddenly realized I don't have my wallet. And I started to panic because it just did not have my own money, but it also had petty cash from office, my driver's license, and valuable documents, as you can imagine. So I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I immediately called up my boss at the time and I said, "Hey, Vivek, there's a problem. You know what? I went to office. I came back. I realized I don't have my wallet. And then I think I'm going to go to police station." He said, "Magan, calm down. What happened? Tell me." I said, "Vivek, I'm telling you, I went to office. I had some work. I was carrying office money. And now that I've come back, I realize I don't have my wallet and I think I'm going to go to the police station." He says, "Magan, relax. Hold on." I said, yeah, I'm relaxed. Now what should I do? He says, "Tell me, did you have anything in your wallet in terms of your business card or your contact details or something?" I said, yeah, everything. It has my business card. It has my driver's license. It has everything. He says, "Okay, so wait for some time. Somebody will find your wallet, I'm sure, and they will call you and you can go and get your wallet." I said, "Come on, Vivek, nobody calls you with money in the wallet if they find. And it's not my money, it's office money." And, internally I was panicking. He must be thinking, have I taken the money myself? Did I lose it on purpose? Am I making up a story? So it was also about my credibility because it was a new job. But anyway, he asked me to wait. He said, "Wait for half an hour and then you can go to police station if nothing happens." I said, "Sure." So I waited for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Nobody called. And I was like, oh God, why did I have to wait? Why did I have to listen to him? Anyway, I kicked my scooter. And the moment I kicked my scooter, my phone rang. I picked up the phone. I said, "Hello?" And the voice on the other end said, "Have you lost something?" I said, yeah, I've lost my wallet." He says, okay, what was in it? Oh, it has so much of money. It has my driver's license. Da, 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 da. I told him everything. He said, okay, here is my address. You can come and collect it. I couldn't believe myself. I rode my scooter like a Superman that day. Somehow managed to find the address that he gave me. There was a security guard sitting outside. He said, hey, aren't you the one who left a little while ago from here? You had dropped your wallet. I said, yes, 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 please give it to me. He says, I've given it to my boss inside. You can go and take it. I said, sure. So I went inside and said, excuse me, sir, my name is Magan. And, you called me. I think my wallet was lost. He says, yeah, please come in. Do you have any ID? I said, it is in the wallet, sir. Please have a look. So he checked the wallet and he said, okay, sure, here you go. Please check if everything is okay. I said, yeah, everything okay. I don't need to check. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. He said, no, you don't need to thank me. In fact, it is my guard outside who came and gave it to me. So you must thank him. I said, of course, sure. So I went out and I thanked the guard. I said, listen, thank you so much. You have no idea what it means to me. And I tried to offer some money to him. And he refused to take. He said, no, I don't want it. I said, no, please, sir. I really appreciate the gesture that you did. Please take this money. He said, no, I don't want it. I was just doing my job. It's absolutely okay. I said, please accept this money. He said, no, I'm not going to accept money. But anyway, I left and I called up my boss. I said, Vivek, guess what? I found the wallet. And he said, excellent, Magan, very good. And then I told him the entire story that I just shared with you. And he said, so Magan, what did you learn from this? So I thought for a moment, I said, what did I learn? I said, oh, well, I learned, Vivek, to be more responsible and careful with money when it comes to managing money, when it comes to keeping money. I'll be more careful. I'll carry a bigger bag rather than putting so much of money in the wallet. And there was a silence on the other side. And I said, hello, Vivek, are you listening? He said, yes, I am. And I said, so? He said, Magan, are you an idiot? I said, why? What happened, Vivek? He said, you idiot, is this what you learned from the entire incident? I was like, yeah, this is what I learned. I mean, I will be more careful with money. He said, did you not learn that there are still good people in this world? And the moment he said that, it hit me like this and really touched my heart and became one of the biggest and the defining leadership lessons of my life. That there are still good people in the world. Because when I look back at that guard, I see that he did the right thing. He demonstrated leadership by doing the right thing. And I also realized that to be a leader, you don't need to have a title. You don't need to have the authority. You don't even need to have any qualification or even interest. If as a leader, you can only do the right thing. In this entire incident that I had, that I experienced, till today, I carry that, as a leader, can we do the right thing? Rather than getting, complex models into the place about what leadership is. Even that is required to manage your business sometimes. Yes, I understand. But as Mr. Gurbinder says, keep it simple. That guy kept it simple. My boss kept it simple. That's one of the lessons that really changed my perspective on leadership. Another lesson that I learned was again in my job, which was in fact my first job, and I'm talking about 1995, and I think June or July of 1995, something like that. I started to work at a restaurant. I was someone who served on tables. That was my first job, but I was always interested in training. And I used to assist one of our training managers, Sumit, at that time, to conduct or to coordinate for the workshops and things like that. So one of my jobs with him was to make sure that, I get all the training material printed in time, make sure that it reaches the venue in time. And I recall that one day I was in this market, I was getting, the manuals printed and all of that. And I got them packed and I was about to leave for the venue. And the moment I stepped out, it started to pour like cats and dogs. It was so bad that I couldn't step out. And, the water logging was there. I couldn't find my way out. Now I didn't know what to do. So anyway, I once again called up my boss. I said, hey, Sumit, how are you? He says, I'm fine. How are you? I said, Sumit, is it okay if I took an auto and got to the venue? He said, sure, it is okay. But why do you want to take an auto? He says, so I said, Sumit, because, it is raining outside and I have a scooter. So if I came with the stuff, it'll all get wet. So hence I need your permission if I can, hire an auto. He says, sure, you can. That is not a problem. But I'm also going to the venue. So on my way, I'll pick you up. So I'll give you a call once I'm outside. You can come and we'll go together. I said, sure, fair enough. So, in the meanwhile, I wrapped up everything with plastic and stuff, packed up, making sure that it doesn't get wet and all of that. And then after maybe about 20 minutes or half an hour or so, Sumit calls me. He says, okay, I'm outside. You come? I said, okay, sure. And I somehow managed my way through that waterlogging and got to the car. He opened the door for me. I put the stuff in the car, shut the door, said, okay, thank you, Sumit. You go. I'll see you there. He says, what do you mean by you go? Come along. I said, no, Sumit, you go. I'll come. He said, why? Come along. Come now. I mean, we have to reach the venue, right? I said, yeah, we have to reach the venue, but you go and I'll join you. He said, but why aren't you coming? I said, Sumit, actually, my shoes are all dirty. And if I step into your car is going to get dirty. So that is what I'm saying. You go, I'll manage somehow and I'll reach there. He says, Magan, if the car gets dirty, it can be cleaned, right? I said, yeah, Sumit, that's there. I mean, it can be cleaned, but you go, I'll join you. He paused for a moment. He looked me in the eye and he said, Magan, always remember, things are made for people. People are not made for things. And that was another powerful leadership lesson that I learned. And it altered the way I lead teams today, or lead people today, or lead the business today. Because my foremost lesson is that things are made for people. People are not made for things. So as long as leaders, we can give priority to leaders, to people, and making sure that we do the right thing, then we are headed in the right direction. That's another lesson that I learned as far as leadership is concerned. I'm going to share with you one more experience that I've had, because I'm trying to keep it simple, so no complex pieces for you. This was, I think, 2005. Yeah, I was working for this training organization, and our organization that year had actually announced some training awards. And I really wanted to win the best trainer award. So, I was like really after it. And I went to my boss at the time. His name was Daryl. And he said, so I asked Daryl, in fact, I said, Daryl, I want to win the best trainer award. Please tell me, what do I have to do? So he didn't say anything. And, he just walked away. He smiled, walked away. And that kept on happening like 2, 3 times, 4 times. Over a week, every day I would go to Daryl and say, Daryl, I want to win that award. Please tell me, what do I have to do? It went to the extent of me actually telling him, hey, Daryl, listen, I'm willing to do anything, absolutely anything to win that award. Please tell me, what do I have to do? I want to win that award. So one day, Daryl just turned around and he said, Magan, be a good human being first, and then you can be a good trainer. And that again altered the way I looked at leadership, because I learned that as leaders, we must first clarify the values that we are operating from. And once we clarify those values, then everything else is a byproduct. So be a good human being first, and everything else is a byproduct. So my 3 lessons came from people who I admire, people who I respect, people who are my bosses, people that I work with. And it did not come in as a theory, but rather it came in real life, demonstrated. They demonstrated leadership to me. So 3 things, if you really want to be a leader, that I think would be valuable. Number 1, to be a leader, you don't need any qualification, any authority, any designation, sometimes not even interest, because they say leaders lead by example, whether they intend to or not. So that God who demonstrated leadership to me by doing the right thing, he actually demonstrated this, that, do the right thing regardless of who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter whether you're tall or you're short, whether you're educated, uneducated, whether you're black or white, male or female, whatever, does not matter. None of that is required for leadership. What is required is doing the right thing. And second thing is people, as most of the leaders have spoken today about, speakers have talked about people. There is things that are made for people. People are not made for things. So there are times, when we may get, little mean and selfish about things and our results and performance and everything, and maybe deprioritize people. But the second thing is to always prioritize people. And number 3 is clarifying your values. These are the 3 pieces that I wanted to share with you, because I wanted to keep it very simple. So once again, completely my honor and my privilege to be here with all of you. I want to thank each one of you who took the time out to be here. And once again, District 105, all the Toastmasters, and Mr. Gurbinder Pun for this opportunity. So thank you very, very much. Over to you, Devi.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. So often we tend to look at the complex strategies in life to be effective. But as you mentioned, to be an effective leader, you most probably don't need authority or anything else. You just need to do the right thing, and most importantly, be a good human being. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big, huge applause for Mr. Magan Kalra.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. As a token of gratitude from District 105, we would like to present you with a certificate. And I request you to keep your camera switched on so that we can photograph you. Right. Thank you, Mr. Morgan, once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, our next speaker is Karen Buxman. Karen is an internationally known speaker, successful author, and a neurohumorist. I know what you're thinking, another neurohumorist? Well, Miss Karen literally lives at the intersection of humor and the brain. She has spoken to thousands of audiences around the globe and has witnessed humor transform high performers at every level. She has provided a message of strategic humor for influence and high performance for organizations like Pfizer, NASA, and the $1 Million Roundtable. Her expertise in humor and the brain is found in leading publications, including Forbes and Investors Business Daily. Her upcoming book, Funny Means Money, Strategic Humor for Influence and World Domination, will be published by Forbes Books in early 2022. Karen is here today to show us how humor is crucial in growing our businesses. She vouches that from attracting more prospects, converting more prospects into customers, and retaining your best customers, funny means money. The title of her talk today is The Secret Power of Humor, Connection. Hello, Ms. Karen. Can you please confirm to check your audio?
Yes. Good morning. Well, it's morning here. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you too. How are you?
If I were any better, Debbie, I would be you.
Thank you so much. So friends, without further ado, please join me in welcoming the neurohumorist Karen Buxman with a huge round of applause. The screen is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. So I know what some of you are thinking. What the heck is a neurohumorist? And for the last 30 years, I have been researching the intersection of humor and the brain. And with my findings, I help high-performing people, high-performing leaders like you lead more successful, significant, and happier lives. So I'm gonna take a guess here that some of you are really funny. Some of you probably don't make other people laugh, but you crack yourself up all the time. And the remainder of you would fall probably into the category that I call humor impaired. You'd probably like to appreciate humor, you just don't get it. And quite frankly, there are some of you who bring joy when you enter a room. There are others of you, though, who may be bringing joy when you leave the room. We don't want that. So what if I could help you expand your influence? If I could help you increase the quantity and quality of your relationships? And if I could help you become younger and better looking? All of this without having to break a sweat, break the bank, or eat kale. You can eat kale if you want to. I don't like it, even though it's a big thing here in California. So a number of years ago, back in the late 90s, I was on a 22-city tour here in the United States with Steve Wilson, a psychologist from Ohio, and Dr. Madan Kataria from India. And we were introducing the concept of laughter for no reason to the United States. We traveled to city after city after city to share this concept. And one of the very last cities that we went to was a city called Phoenix, Arizona, very, very hot. And we were in 10 different locations, but the last location of the day, they took us to an elementary school. It seemed a bit odd to teach children about laughter, but we walked into a room and there was at least 50 to 75 children, ages 5 through maybe 10 or 11, and they're all sitting on the floor and they're squirming and they're wiggling and they're laughing and they're so excited to see new people walk into the room. And so I started with the introductions. I said, I'm Karen Buxman. I've traveled from San Diego. My friend Steve Wilson has traveled from Ohio. And our friend Dr. Madan Kataria has traveled all the way from Mumbai, India. And then Steve asked the children, does anyone here know where India is? And immediately, every hand shot up in the room. All the kids were going, pick me, no, pick me. And so Steve points to this excited little boy in the front row and he goes, all right, son, where's India? And the little boy got excited and then he said, oh, I forgot. The little boy next to him shoves him and says, I know, pick me. And I said, okay, where's India? He said, it's right here in Phoenix. I said, I don't think so. He threw up his hands and said, well, it used to be. But what I realized as I left the room was that every single child in there wanted to be involved. They weren't thinking about, oh, I'll let somebody else do it, or, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself, or, oh, I'm just going to keep my head down. No, they wanted to be engaged. And what if, as leaders, you could lead teams, you could lead your followers with that level of excitement, that level of engagement? I'm going to tell you that humor has secret powers. It has the power to influence. It has the power to heal. And it has the power to connect. So I want you, by the end of our time together, to understand why and how you would choose humor. Yeah, this last year has been tough times for all of us. It's been pandemics and political pandemonium and personal problems on the home front. But humor plays a role in this, both personally and professionally. And high-performing leaders have known this for eons. Mahatma Gandhi said that it is sure that if I had no sense of humor, I would have committed suicide long ago. He understood the power of humor in his leadership. Leaders around the world, in our country, Lincoln, during the Civil War, which was tremendous unrest, maybe the most challenging time of our country. And he was with his cabinet, and he was discussing the Civil War, but he had just read a humorous book by his favorite author, Artemus Ward, and he's laughing, and his cabinet looks at him like he's lost his mind. And he says, gentlemen, in these challenging times, if I did not have humor, I would surely die. And you need this medicine as much as I do. What's in this for you? I mean, humor is one of the top traits that people desire, whether they're looking for a leader or, quite frankly, whether they're looking for a loved one, a soulmate. And there's a high correlation with leaders who have been rated as having a sense of humor. They have larger salaries. There's a correlation that shows bigger bonuses, that another correlation that shows that they have faster promotions. And there's also a correlation that shows people who are rated as having a sense of humor also are rated as appearing younger and better looking. You don't want to miss that. I worked with a gentleman. I've interviewed him for my upcoming book, and he has a company. It's a digital marketing company in New York City called Peppercom. It was hugely successful already. He had basically everything that he already wanted, but he wanted to take it to the next level, and he introduced his team to humor. He put them through a workshop, and he said almost immediately he saw an uptick in the engagement of his people, usually separated by cubicles. Now they're hanging out together at work and even after work. He said there was an uptick in the number of applications once the word got out that they were incorporating this into their corporate culture. Their retention went up. The connection with their customers went up. And while they lost a couple of customers that had no sense of humor, now they were attracting customers that they loved working with. This is something that can happen for you as well. I'm going to let you peek behind the scenes and understand why this can happen, because it really is about the intersection of humor and the brain. When we are under threat, our brains get hijacked. We can't think straight. We can't be the leaders we want to be. We all have our quirks. And one of my quirks is I'm fascinated by zombies. I'm ready for the zombie apocalypse. I was expecting that one. I wasn't expecting a pandemic apocalypse, but I was ready because I watch the zombie movies. I watch the zombie TV shows. I love The Walking Dead. And here where I live in San Diego, every year is an event called Comic-Con. And 140,000 people converge in San Diego over 4 days to watch superheroes and action heroes and zombies. This one year, they had this display of part of the show, The Walking Dead. It was almost a city block. It was this compound behind a chain link fence. And inside it were dozens of zombies who were made up in zombie attire, and they were walking around and they were making these moans and groans. And I stood outside the chain link fence and I was fascinated. I'd spend hours watching these zombies. On the third or fourth day, it was getting end of day, and they made the announcement over the overhead speakers, and they said, the doors are closing, it's end of the day. Thank you for coming. Everybody, please head out the front door. But I wanted to get one more look at my zombies. And so instead, I rushed to the back of the trade show where the zombies were. And when I got there, because the show was over, they had opened the gate to the compound, and out are walking all these zombies. And two of them saw me and they started walking toward me. And my prefrontal cortex, the part of my thinking brain, was going, wow, isn't that amazing? Look at their makeup. The back of my brain, the reptilian part, was saying, I think we ought to get out of here. As one zombie got a little bit closer, I was thinking, wow, this is fascinating. Look how real this zombie looks. The back of my brain is getting a little louder now, saying, we really need to go. And just as the zombie was almost within the reaching distance to touch me, now the back of my brain is screaming, get out now. So I turned to run, only to discover the other zombie had quietly snuck up behind me. I screamed like a little girl. I'm sure everybody in that whole trade show heard me, but it was because my prefrontal cortex got hijacked. And our prefrontal cortex can get hijacked by things as scary as zombies, but also as small as things that have to do with status. Maybe you have a nicer office. Maybe you have a better car. Maybe you have a better marriage. You know, all of these little things that create status. People who handle money, people who are in charge of people's bodies, financial planners, doctors, these people, you are taking care of people who are vulnerable, who are scared. And when this happens, their brains get hijacked. What are you going to do? Did you know that this kind of threat, this kind of stress can actually make you dumber? Oh my gosh. Studies have shown that stress can lower your IQ by at least 10 points. I don't know about you. I need all the points I can get. And so the fact is that humor can lower the resistance. When we are in a state of threat, our brains are shooting off all of these neurotransmitters, the norepinephrine and the adrenaline, and lowering the oxytocin and cortisol is raised, and all of these things, the muscle tension that keep you from being able to communicate with others. Even if they want to hear your message, they can't because their brain has been hijacked. Another thing is that not only does it lower the resistance, but it improves your likability. And with likability, people would rather do business with people they like, they know, they trust. And when you're using humor, now you are showing some vulnerability, especially if it's a little bit of mildly self-effacing humor. Because when you're showing self-effacing humor, you're showing that you're a little bit vulnerable. And now people's brains are going to lead in. People that you're doing business with, people that you're selling to, people that you're leading. Instead of backing away in terms of their brain, now they're leaning in. And now you have the ability to connect and lead these people even more efficiently and effectively. So I want to give you 3 ways that you can incorporate humor habits. In my upcoming book, I have 10 high-performing humor habits, and I'm going to share 3 of those with you. If you want to learn about all 10, there is a free cheat sheet that you can download at humorhabits.com. But for today, the 3 are, number 1 is that with great power comes great responsibility. You now know about the power of humor, that it can make you healthier, that it can make you more resilient, that it can make you a better leader. And so it's not enough to know this, you need to take action. If you've ever watched Spider-Man, that was Spider-Man's Uncle Ben who said, with great power comes great responsibility. You as leaders now have great power. You need to take action and not just know this. The second thing is to see funny, because many people think they have to be funny. But as leaders, you never have to tell a joke. You never have to be funny yourself. The pressure is off. The most effective leaders understand they don't need to be funny. They just need to see funny. They don't have to be a humor initiator. They just want to be a humor appreciator. I coach high performers around the planet. And what I've found is some will come to me and say, oh, I want to be funny. I want to be funny. And that's great. But if you don't understand and appreciate humor first, you're not going to know when to use it. You're not going to know where to use it. You're not going to even recognize it when it wiggles in your face. When you start rewiring your brain to see humor, because some of you are thinking, but you don't understand, Karen, there's nothing funny happening in my life. And if that is your belief, that's your reality. But if you believe that there is humor around you, you will start seeing things. You will start hearing things that other people miss. I was traveling, I was working in the state of Florida in the United States, the southernmost tip, right on the ocean. And as I'm checking into the hotel, the person in front of me is asking the hotel clerk, he said, we want to go out and do some sightseeing tomorrow. Which beach is closest to the water? Seriously, which beach is closest to the water? You don't have to make these things up. I recently saw a sign in my favorite coffee shop that most people just overlook. And it said, unattended children will be given an espresso and a free puppy. These are the kinds of things that I'm looking for every day, and it enriches my life. So the first humor habit is to take action. The second humor habit is to see funny. And the third humor habit is to walk the talk. There are many times leaders know that they want others to use humor, but they don't use it themselves. Use humor. I want to close with one last story about a high-performing flight attendant who was giving instructions on her flight to the people in first class. And as they started to taxi out, she noticed that one of the passengers didn't have on his seatbelt. So she leaned over and she said to him, sir, you need to put your seatbelt on. This passenger just happened to be the most famous boxer in the world at the time, Muhammad Ali. He crossed his arms, he looked at her and he said, Superman don't need no seatbelt. She smiled at him and said, champ, Superman don't need no airplane. She had a choice. She could have gotten in a fight. She could have ignored him, but she chose humor. I'm Karen Buxman, and I'm encouraging you as leaders to choose humor. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. For someone who has this reputation of being a bit serious, those tips of implementing and incorporating humor in our daily lives was indeed necessary. Today, you not only convinced us with the fact that humor can heal and connect, but you also convinced us that humor has the ability to improve our engagement skills, employee productivity, and leadership in general. Come on, friends, we all yearn for better IQ points, right? So let's start incorporating.
That is right. We need all the help we can get.
Exactly. So like Karen mentioned, let's start incorporating humor by walking the talk. Thank you, Karen, once again. Let's give a big round of applause for her.
Thank you.
Karen, on behalf of District 105, we would like to present you this token of appreciation and gratitude. I would request you to switch on your camera so that we can photograph you. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Moving on, our last speaker for today is someone special for our district, DTM Mohammad Murad. In fact, I have been told that he's considered as the pearl of District 105. He has been a Toastmaster for the past 25 years and is a past international president of Toastmasters. He's Lieutenant Colonel and has previously served as the head of Dubai Police. Friends, DTM Mohammad Murad is a leader with expertise in quality management, consultancy, coaching, and personal development. His specialties include quality performance consultancy, entrepreneurship, leadership, event management, and people development. His leadership model? Well, it consists of 5 H's: head, heart, help, humility, and happiness. Today, he will be speaking on the topic value-based leadership. Hello, sir. Can you please confirm to check your audio?
Confirming audio.
Thank you. How are you doing today?
Pretty good, thank you.
Thank you. Friends, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Mohammed Murad. The screen is all yours.
Thank you very much, Devi, and fellow Toastmasters, as well as guest speakers. Good evening. In case you were wondering whether this face you are seeing is the same as the photo that you saw in the poster, I assure you I'm the same person, but it's just that there has been a change in perspective after COVID of how a person should look. And I have come to a conclusion that a person needs to look the way he or she is comfortable with. And probably that has got a lot to do with what our values are and how we look at what does leadership mean to us. And I was interested to have listened to Karen, where she said that you need to use humor and all leaders need to use humor. And then you are shocked with a title of value-based leadership. And then you say, you know, this doesn't gel together and it doesn't make sense whether you need to have value-based and then use humor. Well, let me tell you, following value-based leadership does not mean in any way that you need to do away with humor. On the other hand, humor is a value that you might want to consider to follow and take up if you are looking at leadership. So for us to understand the concept of value-based leadership, we need to have a definition of what value-based leadership is. And the definition is simply that it is a leadership style that builds itself on the values of both the leader and the followers. And I want to highlight here and underline the followers. So it's not the style of the leader only, but it's the style of the leader and the followers. Because what happens in leadership is that there is this dynamic that gets formed where the leader influences the followers, but the bigger influencer is the followers and what values they have on the leader. So whenever you take on leadership roles, you need to understand that it's a two-way street. And if you put a block in front of the influence that the followers have on you, then you are not practicing efficient and effective leadership. So it's a style that builds on both leader and their teams. Now, for us to understand what does value-based leadership do, I'll point out a few points that you might want to consider whenever you are venturing into a leadership journey, a leadership experience, and even if you are a follower or a team member with a leader. Because as we said, it's a combined leadership style, and it's not only a single person leadership styles. So what does value-based leadership do? It helps in setting direction. So if you adhere to certain values, and it's important for us to specify them and make sure that we communicate them to everyone, then the way is paved for setting a certain direction. Now, we understand that the different individuals embrace different values, and that is fine. But the fact of the matter is that whenever we come together in a team, we have to formulate a set of values that everyone will need to understand, follow, uphold, and understand the direction that everyone is setting by adhering to these set of values. So setting direction. The other point is creating proactive organization culture. You see, once we understand the group's values, we are setting a culture. And it's very apparent probably when you look at when a club is chartered, or when a team of a new team of the district is chartered, and I'm pointing out to the team that is taking over by 1st of July. It's important for us to understand that we need to be proactive from the beginning. Therefore, we need to outline our values in order to create a values-based leadership system. So it creates this proactivity, it creates this joy, it creates this feeling that we know where we are going and we know how to do things. The next thing is it improves individuals. Now, let's look at the Toastmasters mission. And it simply says that we empower individuals to become better communicators and leaders. So if we have a certain set of values, then we will be able to improve as individuals as well as teams. You see, it all starts with individuals. And if we go back to the previous 2 points of setting direction, it does not mean that we only have to set direction for the team, but it is setting the direction of individuals that will set the collective direction of the team. So improving individuals is a very important aspect of values-based leadership. Now, if the individuals feel that they are not improving, then there might be one of two things. That the team has not been successful in setting direction, therefore has not been successful in understanding their values. Or that the individual does not fit in. And there are two things that they can do. They can either leave or be conscious and aware of where the team stands and where they stand, and they need to correct their path into streamlining with the team. And most of the time, that where individuals fall out from the team is because they have not been able to streamline themselves. But more importantly, the team has not been aware and has not made the effort to streamline this individual, right? So fallout is the extreme. Fallout is the last measure that could happen, but then the onus is on the team to make sure that this individual understands the direction of the values-based leadership and is facilitated to come in and be able to join the team again. And the last point is expanding opportunities. Now, if improving individuals is an element of values-based leadership, then expanding opportunities would be a result, and an obvious result of how opportunities are created whenever we are adhering to a certain set of values. Now, there are key traits that values-based leadership has, and I will put forward to you three key traits of value-based leadership. The first of which is self-reflection. And you might actually notice that whenever we talk about teams and we talk about leaders, it always goes back to the individual. So the individual needs to be aware and adhere to a certain set of values as a leader in order for the team to be successful. So self-reflection is something that probably most of us do. But here the question is whether you self-reflect as a team or not. How many times do we sit together and say, are we successful as leaders? Are we successful in adhering or understanding and reminding ourselves of what our values are? And Toastmasters is a great example of how values play a very big role in our leadership journey. The second point is the trait of self-confidence. So we talked about improving individuals and creating opportunities. And there is nothing that could happen unless we have self-confidence. And this is created by practice, by the way. There are different levels of self-confidence that the individuals have, but there is nothing that says that it is not possible for us to improve our self-confidence. So self-reflection, self-confidence, both inwards, but both also apply to the team. Whether the team is coherent enough in order to have confidence that we are capable of achieving our goals. We are capable of achieving the direction and maintaining the direction that we have set forth from the beginning. And the third aspect, or the third trait of values-based leader, is positive influence. So we become good when we influence others positively. And it's probably something that is not very easy, because levels of influence are different for different people. And therefore, it's important for the team to come to a certain level in order for them to go forward at a steady pace. So if we have different team members with different levels of these three traits, then it will be difficult for them to improve in an efficient way. So it's important for us to understand that all the team members need to be on the same level of understanding, of adhering to our values in order for us to be effective. Now, what I would like to share with you here is the values of Toastmasters International. Now, we have around, let's see, we have around 91 people who has by-hearted the values of Toastmasters International. Gurbinder, I had no problems of knowing that you will raise your hand. But regardless of you answering it publicly, it's important that inside you, you understand the importance of these values. Because everything we do in Toastmasters adheres to these values, and our success factors are reflective of these values. And the value-based leadership could not be more effective within our organization because of these values. Now, you might be thinking that I have additional values that I feel they are important. And as I said before, it's fine, right? It's an added value to whatever set of values you have. But the fact of the matter is that you have to have a standard in order for you to act as a team and be effective as a team. So the standard is set for you with the 4 values, which is integrity, respect, service, and excellence. And yes, I know them by heart because I have been privileged enough to have formulated and worked on the values when I was on the board of directors. Now, how do these values reflect on our leadership? I'd like to share a couple of stories with you. The first one is called the Emperor's Seed. So there was an emperor who wanted to test his followers and his team. And what he did is that he got 100 people and he got 100 seeds distributed to them. And he said, I want you by the end of a few months for you to be able to show me that you have grown a plant in order to prove your effectivity. And everyone went away and they tried different ways and so on. And at the end of the period, each and every one of the 100, except for one, had a plant trimmed, watered, flowered, shown to the emperor. But this one person could not produce a plant. And as the emperor went and asked each and every one how they did it, they explained. And then he came to this person. And he said, why haven't you produced a plant? He said, I have tried everything, but I have not been successful. And the emperor had an announcement at the end of this session. And he said, this person who did not produce a plant is the one who will be succeeding me. Why? Simply because the emperor gave each and every one of them a seed that could not produce a plant. It was a defective seed. It was a boiled seed. And this only individual was the one who had the integrity to face the truth. So more of the story is that integrity pays. And on integrity is based all the other three aspects of our values. On integrity comes respect, because this individual respected himself and the emperor to tell him the truth. And on integrity comes service, because without the integrity, you would be selfish and not want to help others. But service has to have excellence in order to make sure that we are most effective and have our values intact. So values are interconnected. No matter what value you have, it overlaps and interconnects. So my final word to you is understand the values, by heart them, and uphold them so that others can do the same. I wish you a pleasant leadership journey, and thank you.
Thank you, Aditya Murad, for sharing those pearls of wisdom. Let's have a big round of applause for him. Indeed, the relationship between leaders and followers is a mutual relationship where each party can influence the other party. And as you rightly mentioned, integrity is the sole value or the sole characteristic that lies at the apex of the list of values that we all want to implement and incorporate in our lives. So beautifully presented. Let's hope that we always tend to behave with integrity, whether we are watched or not watched. Aditya Murad, as a token of appreciation and gratitude from District 105, please accept this certificate. And I would request you to keep your cameras switched on so that you may be photographed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya Murad, once again. Let's have a huge round of applause for all the speakers this evening. Wow, that was a fantastic evening with loads and loads of wisdom and learning. I completely enjoyed, and I'm sure all of you did as well. Friends, let us strive to incorporate whatever we have learned today in our professional and personal lives and become better leaders and individuals. With this, I would hand over the podium back to the Surgeon-at-Arms, Toastmaster Adira. Over to you.
What an amazing meeting it has been, right? I'm sure you all would be leaving this meeting feeling motivated, inspired, determined, and whatnot. Remember, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you become a leader. Thank you for all those of you who attended this event and made it super special for all of us. And with that, I declare this meeting closed.
Camera on for photograph final. Thank you.
I think one of the speaker had a problem on this voice, I think, no? Connectivity issue was there. Correct, no, Navneet?